Hey guys, welcome to Faz Radio. Let's get started. Oh, wait a minute. Okay, had to make sure that my microphone was nearby. Now I want to check.
Why?
Why? Because it's sitting on top of my air conditioner. Hey guys. There we go.
Not a great place for it.
All right, let's get started. So what do we have this week, Mr. Titan? Okay, had to make sure that my microphone was nearby.
I had to mute. I was gonna like all the funky music.
Why?
Did you turn the
sitting
music
on top
off?
of my air conditioner. Let me see if I can mess
Is
with
it-
that. Hey guys. Hold on. There we
Because
go.
it's still going, I think.
All right, it's still going. All right, guys, we're back.
Well,
Sorry
wait,
about
maybe
that.
You got to check the audio too.
We're back.
Are we?
Yeah, we are. We are live now. We had a little technical difficulty there. You guys might not have heard it, but we did.
Hey, I think it went off now finally.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
So we got some stuff this week. Don't worry, we'll make a little chapter so people can skip past all this stuff. I know Roy Plummer is listening right now.
Yeah, it's kind of short notice. Sorry for the delay from Friday. We had some stuff going on, and then yesterday I kicked the hornet's nest with Faz during our conversation, and we never got to do it last night. So
Yeah,
we
don't
set
bring
up
it up
a time
tonight.
to do it today.
Don't bring it up tonight.
Nope, that's stuff that is not Faz Radio worthy.
That's right.
Personal opinions do not necessarily reflect the opinions of Faz Radio, its entities, or assigns.
Well, if we started going into politics and stuff like that in Faz Radio, I think we get a lot more listeners, and we get a whole lot less listeners.
And I think a lot of people would hate us more too.
Well, you know what they say. If somebody doesn't hate you for some reason, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah, I think that was George, what's his name, Patton, wasn't it?
I don't know. Okay, so what's going on this week in crypto? You were just reading a news article before we got on that I was telling you you should read on Faz Radio.
Yeah, I'm pulling it back up because someone had me going in 5 different windows and now I can't find it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't remember who that was. My kid's gonna come in and drop the cat off, so if you hear me screaming, that's why.
Goddamn cat!
I had to move all my plants out of here. He climbed through all my plants and kicked the dirt everywhere. Was driving me absolutely crazy. Why am I not finding this article? I'm on where it was.
I believe we can reconstruct it. You were complaining about saying something about people investing in Celsius, was it?
No. Let's see how good the search algorithm is.
Well, in Gala news today, the film nodes are online now. Not today, but Gala news this week. The film nodes are online, and they have just come up with a coin, as it were, or I don't know what this is, for the film nodes called Popcorn. Have you heard about that, Mr. Titan?
I have, and there was quite a bit of confusion around it from what I gathered as well.
Because they didn't make it, they weren't clear about whether that was a coin or I don't know, something else, some sort of incentive. But the whole point was they wanted to make sure whatever it was that you hoarded it in some way, because they're like, the more of this popcorn you get, the more ability you will have to stream, or more that you'll be allowed to stream, or something like that. Stream these movies. So basically, if you hoard their coin, then they'll let you stream more, or they give you more of their business or something. I think being burned so much by town is causing that kind of reaction. And of course, you know, if the popcorn price goes up so much that people just can't hold off any longer, well, then that's the balance point. But then if it goes down, then people will want to hold it so that they can get more popcorn coin. Isn't that staking?
Okay. So right. So this opens up like a really big box of questions, right? So the way that I read it, and someone was kind enough, top of my head, again, I've got like 9 windows open. I'm not going to try and flip back through and find it, but someone was kind enough to post on CFA a screenie of the little announcement box that talked about the popcorn. And it did say something about, I need the litter box too, bud, because you guys took it.
Oh, he's talking cat stuff.
Yep, the cat came in. So it was talking something about how you could host more content. Now, that raises a big question mark over my head, because are they going to throttle what you can host, or how many you can host based on how nice you are to the ecosystem?
That's
or
what it
if you hold
sounds like.
certain things?
Do you have the graphic anywhere?
Yeah, I mean, how's that going to work? Because if they're going to do that, I mean, is
Here
that
it
something
is.
they're going to do on music as well?
It's in the
We
Gala
don't
Stuff
know
channel.
anything
Okay, let me read it.
really
It
deep
says-
on these nodes.
It says, why popcorn? We want node owners to be rewarded ahead of the Gala Film token launching. Okay, so fine. They want you to run your node now. 2, earn popcorn when you operate your Gala Film node for at least 6 hours a day. Collect popcorn. The greater you support, your support streak is. Support streak. Remember, words mean something. The greater your support streak is, the larger bucket you collect. And the last one is, more popcorn. Buckets will temporarily boost your distribution by providing you access to running an increased workload. So access to running an increased workload. So that would seem like, okay, we let the big holders stream most of the movies and they get most of the money. But if you start selling, like the dog that you are, then you're not going to host very much and you're not going to earn very much. That's what I'm kind of
It also sounds like the kind of like the Flare thing where they give you a kind of like a database entry of how much in film token you're going to get at launch is what it sounds like.
Well, no, that part is they want node owners to be rewarded ahead of the Gala Film token launching. That says to me that they just want you to run your film node right now, and they're keeping track.
Right.
And so you'll get a big amount of popcorn by the time everything launches.
But I don't think that's going to be the token, is what I'm saying. It's going to be, film or whatever, right?
I don't know.
Because they had on Twitter, they were posting about names for the Gala Film token, what they wanted it to be named, and people were talking about it. So I think this is the popcorn, I think, is a placeholder. So they say, okay, if you have 5,000 popcorn tokens, that entitles you to 3,000 film tokens upon release.
Okay, well, I didn't read
something
the first,
along those lines.
I didn't read the first part. The first part says, if you're contributing, we want to recognize you for it. Once our ecosystem goes live later this year, you'll be able to access distribution rewards for your participation, hosting content, and supporting films. Then it says, until then, for operating your node, you can receive popcorn. So what are popcorn? Like gems? Like Townstar gems?
That's what I mean. I'm guessing. I have no idea. I'm just trying to place together the way that they put that out.
Yeah, sounds like... That's why I couldn't really call it a coin. Is anybody here? Yes,
it's like
LA
a placeholder.
LA Toolman says, still sounds like popcorn and film token are independent. I agree.
Yeah. It's just going to be a placeholder. Either way, it's going to be a placeholder because they're obviously not going to issue popcorn early. It's just going to be a database entry. Hey,
sounds like
an IOU.
Popcorn sounds like a nice token name, to be honest. I mean, it's pretty. I don't think anybody else has a coin named popcorn.
But it doesn't meet your standards of one syllable.
Well, one syllable makes things catchy.
It could, I guess. Corn.
Get cornholed. That's what it's, if they called it corn, then they'd say get cornholed with your film node. Oh, sorry. Did I go over our guidelines here?
So let's not gloss over this workload thing because that could be really important later on. What are we going to guess that means? You're better at guessing than I am. You always laugh at me when I make a guess and tell me I'm wrong.
My guess is they know that they're going to get 6 fucking million people that will want to get this film node, and they want to partition out who serves up their movies. And they obviously want somebody whose node is on all the time. And they want somebody whose connection is reliable. And apparently they want somebody with the most popcorn. So if your node is up all the time and it's a reliable connection and you hold on to every goddamn thing they send you, well then guess what? You'll be rewarded with the ability to earn more.
Well, and so the tokenomics on that, if we go back to the only little scraps of info that we know, there's apparently going to be a payment if they stream yours. There's also going to be a pool for everybody who owns the movie. So is this suggesting that it'll be on a bonus plan like the founders nodes are looking to go to with, hey, if you hold X number of popcorn, which I don't know how you would earn it after the token goes out,
they'll
or
just
if
come
you
up
have
with
to
additional
collect popcorn
if they're
before
like
you
gems,
can get.
If they're like gems, they'll come up with a little
crazy.
sheet. If they're like gems, they'll come up with a little sheet. If you do this, this, and this, you'll get popcorn. Maybe they'll give you a menu. You do this, you get 5 popcorn. You do this, you get 10.
This is like, why do they make everything so overly complicated? Why can't they make something simple?
You think that's bad? Try banking sometime. Try getting a loan and finding out who gets how much percent of what. I mean, it's the same stuff. Try buying a house. Jesus Christ, you have to sign papers for like 4 days straight to buy a house. So, I mean, it's just showing that crypto is growing up. And if you're going to have an ecosystem of some sort, you've got to account for all the variables. So in one sense, it's kind of needed. In another sense, well, and that's in other things like your store card that you got with Target and stuff like that, all that stuff is hidden. All you care about is, how many coupons you get. This is, all the stuff is starting out, so they're going to show you every little moving part of what's going on. After a while, they're going to find out it's just going to confuse people, and they'll only tell you certain things.
Yeah.
What about your American Express? When you earn airline miles, is it as simple as you just get so much per month, and then you can spend so much, or do they have like things that you can buy with your airline miles? My credit card has all sorts of payment on time credits, and then I can shop in their stupid ass store and buy myself a little beanie hat and stuff, with the credits they give me. Or I can cut a check and I can get it in 3 weeks of the $16 that they're going to give me.
On one of my business accounts, I have that. You go to the special store they have, and you can buy, whatever it is they offer, they quote partner with or whatever.
So
my main card that I use in regular life is just dumps cash into my account instantly.
So you can't really yell at Gala for doing that because everybody does that anyway right now. So it's kind of par for the course. But it is confusing. I would agree with that.
Nobody's yelling at Gala, I don't think. It's just, it's frustrating when it's so complicated. There's, here we are, right? We kind of know this space pretty well. And if we're confused, imagine, the noob that comes in and just wants to buy some NFTs and play some games and maybe get a node, and then that leads to a lot of butt hurt later when they, by the way, that's not how it really works. If they just made it simple, it would be a lot easier all the way around.
I will never crow about my knowledge of this space because the space changes so much. All I'm going to say is, yep, been there, done that. Yep, there's all sorts of shenanigans going on. Oh, this must be a new one. That said, I do have a couple film nodes. Bought it when everything was... Well, they sold the film nodes when the market was really good. So, of course, we had the money for that. But if they come out with a node right now, I'm screwed.
Well, I took a hard pass on the film nodes because I don't know what the back end is. And without that information to know if it's viable, I'm not buying anything.
Good point. What about the founders nodes? What's the back end
of that? I aped into that just based on you.
Oh.
I was brand new to crypto at that point.
So if I tell you to buy a film node, then you would just ape right in?
No.
Oh.
No.
Are you saying you learned your lesson?
Before I knew better.
You learned your lesson with the Gala node.
I did. So I am happy to buy things where I know all of the metrics around it. And
I think it'll be too late. By the time you find out all the metrics, they'll cost like $50,000.
Then I won't get one.
Okay. Then you'll have to go somewhere else.
I just, and I'm not talking just about Gala here. I'm talking in general with anything that you spend money on, because a lot of times, see, here's something, and you and I have had discussions around this before because you're more of an expert on it than me. There's a reason that when I was a kid, you would go into a place to play games and you would take your dollar bill and it would turn into tokens, because it takes the illusion away that you're spending money when you have tokens, and people don't take it as seriously as like money. And this is a financial transaction, and whoever is selling me whatever, whether it's an NFT of a bard or a gaming NFT or whatever it is, they're asking me to make a financial transaction. And if I don't know what's on the back end of that transaction as far as utility, any reward that there might be, any perks that there might be, any drawbacks that there might be, I'm not going to spend money on it. And if I lose out, guess what? I lose out. That's the so you and I have argued about this in the past, right? So we say, oh, you got to get it early. You're taking an enormous risk. Okay. So the higher the risk, the higher the reward needs to be on the back end. And if I don't know what that reward is, I am not going to take the risk. That's
I'm not
me.
sure.
Right? That's how I invest.
I'm not sure
So,
when you get in early to anything that you can calculate what your reward might be. Because
no, but
when you're asking,
okay.
when you're asking about knowing the reward, you're starting to get into security area. Well, tell me what the reward will be, and then I'll take the risk. Well, that's a security.
Well, maybe that's why they don't say the back end on a regular basis. Then
the question is that what you want? Do you want securities?
It doesn't matter to me. It matters to the company that's selling it, yes, because they have all kinds of new reporting requirements they got to keep up with if it's deemed a security. But we don't even know the utility. We haven't even gotten to the reward. Before that is utility. We don't even know what this film node's going to do. And we're sitting here trying to even guess about what it means when they say, you'll have more availability or whatever the case may be. We don't even know what that is. And this isn't something that's $100. This is $4,000. That, to a lot of people, that is, half a month's income, or to some of the people who have a little bit more money out there, that's maybe a mortgage payment.
So you want to wait till the public mint before you buy anything.
Depends. If I know enough about it, I don't know enough about a film node to make an educated choice on whether or not it's worth spending $4,500 on it.
Let's see. We have some chats here. Hey, old man Smithers. In my opinion, one of the primary goals should be to make things easy and transparent. Anything that complicates the user experience should be looked upon as a last resort.
OMS. We talked about that before. That's absolutely right.
Is anything in life easy and transparent? Is getting a credit card that gives you cash back easy and transparent?
Yeah,
I'd like
they
to know.
have to. They have to put disclosures on everything. Yeah.
Are you sure it's easy and transparent? Because what I would think easy and transparent would be the commercial that advertises the card, not the fine print that you always have to read when you get the card.
It's pretty simple. They put a range of what interest rate you would pay depending on your credit worthiness. Then they disclose to you before you accept the card whether or not here's the terms of this. I'm going to give you a great example of that, right? So recently, because the interest rates before all these hikes were up, I applied to my bank for a loan, right? And they offered, the teaser. I got it in my my email. Unsecured personal loans up to $25,000 at like 4% interest. And I said, well, geez, I can't pass that up if I just throw my credit cards and whatever else on there. It's still way less. So I applied. And I went through the process, and it was like a 3-day thing. I had to send them a bunch of documentation and everything else. And they came back with an offer letter. Because, of course, they wanted to know what I was going to spend $25,000 on. So I listed out some credit cards and things like that. So I got their offer letter back in the mail. And it said that the terms of getting 4% was that I would pay off the credit card and close the account for every one of my credit cards.
Ooh. We want to be your only creditor.
Well, right. So I said, no, thank you. And I turned down the loan. So that is easy and simple. I gave them my information. They sent me a sheet that detailed out in plain English exactly what the terms were, and I was able to make a decision yeah or no. And in that case, no. I'm not going to I have a great credit score, so I'm not going to close all these credit cards just to get a 4% interest rate to pay them off. I need I'm an adult. I have needs of having credit lines in multiple places open.
But I
They
thought
even
you
wanted me to
didn't.
close my Home Depot card. Are you
But
crazy?
by the way, I just a little nugget here. This is from someone who didn't like credit cards for a long time. Or do you not want to go into that?
No, so I think I've even mentioned this real early in our Faz Radio career. I gave up all credit in 2001. I closed all of my accounts. I paid everything off, and I did not use credit from 2001 until I bought my house here in 2013. And I went in to talk to the mortgage people, and the guy says, hey, how's your credit? And I said, I don't have any. And he says, oh, well, you got to have a credit score. I said, no, I gave up credit. And I insisted. He kept pushing, like the doctor's office, about pills. What pills do you take? Well, I don't take any. Well, no, you're over 50. Of course you have pills. No, I don't. So
That means he's over 50, guys.
yeah, I'm over the hill. So he pulls my credit and he said, I've been doing this for well over 20 years and people tell me all the time they don't have credit. He goes, it's literally blank. And I said, I know. I told you that like 7 times. And he says, I have never seen anything like this.
Did you get your
And
house?
I did.
I thought you had to have credit to get a house.
Okay, I'll get there. I'm long-winded. You know this about me.
Apparently, that's why I listen to you on 2x when I edit. Nothing.
So I'll give you the quick version on why I got rid of credit. Right. So I had like a 780 credit score in 2001, and I had struggled, and I mean I was, dead on with credit. It took me 10, 12 years to get that credit score that high. And my job transferred me to California. And so I rented out my house. And my tenants could not pay the mortgage after I got into there. Well, being, 2,500 miles away, that presented a big problem. And I fell behind on a payment for the first time, I think, in my life. And within 30 days of that, they had sent me a letter with intent to foreclose. And I was like, holy shit. So I packed up everything and I came back. I kicked the people in the house out and I put the house up for sale. I caught up some of the payments, whatever. But by that point, I was like 45 days, almost 60 days behind. And I sold the house and paid everything off and got done. And overnight, during that month I was at home, my credit score dropped to 525. And I said, wait a minute. I spent 12 years getting up to like 780. And in 30 days, with one mistake, I dropped to 525. I said, that's it. I am DUN done. No more. Absolutely no more credit. Because it's a scam. Come on, really? So I gave up all credit. I paid off my cars over the next couple of months. Got all that stuff squared away, and I gave up credit. And I lived just fine for about 12 and a half years. And then we came back to Northeast Ohio and wanted to buy a house, and that's where it started. So the guy told me what to do. I had to get to a 670 credit score to qualify for a mortgage, and so I took out a few secured credit lines, and I paid and bought things how he told me to do it, and within 2 months, I had a 670 credit score, and off and running, I went with the house. So it is crazy how that system works. I'm very against it. I only open lines of credit when I absolutely have to. I don't pay attention to my credit score anymore. I just pay my bills. Nobody's complaining, so I assume it's pretty good. I get really good offers like that, like this bank loan that I was talking about. They offered me the four and a quarter or whatever it was percent. So apparently I've got really good credit now. So I'm just really against that whole system. I think it is nothing but a mess.
So that's why you
And
got into
it's
crypto.
very hard to win. So yeah, so crypto is the same thing. This all stemmed from easy, right? So it's very easy. And so I have that sheet. I can look at it before I make my decision on whether or not I want that loan. And I understand crypto's different, and I understand how things in crypto are far more complicated than a bank loan. But if you're asking me to spend that amount of money, I expect to know what I'm going to get for it. And I'm sorry, the days of, hey, just send the money and we'll make it worth it. Sorry, I'm not interested in doing that anymore.
Well,
If
you're
you
not
can't
gonna.
tell me what it is up front, I'll wait. Maybe if it's that good of a deal, if it's such a good deal to have one of those, I can go to OpenSea and I can buy one. Now with film nodes I can't, right? I understand that, but okay, so I missed out. No big deal. There's other things I can do with that 4,500. I'll probably make just as much.
So I guess they're not going to allow you in the DGen club now.
Yeah, well, I don't know. So, Civic, I found it. So Civic was a token, and I talked about this if you go back about a year on Faz Radio. I was pretty high on it. They're an identity verification platform, and they have a token out, and I traded it like crazy in early 2021. I made a nice little chunk of change on that. I think identity verification is going to be a very big thing coming up in the next 5 to 10 years. Well, they had a little bit of a problem. They made some national news maybe 6, 7 months ago. They had ID verified and given the quote certification or check mark to a project that launched and rug pulled everybody. And so that brought a lot of really bad press. They also had, I think, another security breach of some kind. So they didn't have their act together. They took a pretty big hit there. But I did notice that CoinDesk had some information. I guess Civic had gotten its act together, and they are announcing a few things that are coming up, which is they're going to have what's called a Civic Pass, which is going to be in the DeFi space. They're going to test it first, I guess, on Solana. And what they're going to be able to do is you're going to have to submit even your wallet addresses and such so that they can monitor those and quote, verify them as yours. I see this as a precursor to any government regulations that could come out with being able to have to disclose all of your holdings. So I think they're hedging it a little bit early. But they're going to be able to tell. They're gonna do, I guess, with this software they have. They're going to be able to tell how many multiple wallets you use by spidering your original addresses, I guess. And be able to tell if you're using multiple wallets, what those wallets are, and be able to help secure the people that they verify, that they know exactly how many wallets they have, where they go. kind of against what DeFi is really all about. But then on the project side, you'll be able to find people who try and pull the rug out from underneath you and be able to follow the money a lot better. So there's pros and cons depending on how you look at it. But that's something they're going to try. I don't know if it'll stick or not. With that, they're also developing a special wallet that will have similar extra security function with kind of like a Web3 login, so to speak. Meaning it's going to be kind of like you're going to have to log into this wallet only using the verified addresses. So if anybody tries to log into this or bring assets or anything else from something that isn't whitelisted, it will flag it and potentially stop it. So they're bringing a different layer of security to wallets. This is going to be interesting to follow over the wallet. What do you think about ID verification programs like that?
I think it's definitely needed for this space. I think anybody who wants to transact with you is going to need that. See, the problem with buying things right now is, I guess unless you have a smart contract that is very well validated, it's hard to know who you're getting something from. Because the problem is transactions are irreversible generally on the blockchain. And so if something goes wrong, how do you know you're going to get your money back? All transactions are final. So yeah, it's going to be a highly valued thing, I think, to get a knowledge of what people are or how trustworthy they are. This is a trustless space, and it's okay. You don't need to trust anybody to make a transaction, but whether somebody's going to sell something to you or not is a separate thing. So all the stuff that you see in the traditional banking system is still going to be needed for crypto. If you're going to buy an ice cream from me, if the money shows up in my account right away, it's not a problem. It's those DeFi transactions and those larger transactions that people have to worry about. What if you're going to pay me crypto to buy a car? I would think that it's as simple as the money's going to arrive in my account. But not everybody has enough money to buy a car. They usually get a loan.
Do you think that using that as a KYC measure is good enough? Do you think that pushes the privacy of crypto too far?
I think the space is going to evolve. Too far really depends upon when people feel put out or what the majority of people feel. You might feel something is too far, but someone else may not. To be honest, I don't know. I'm used to, you go to a store now and you want to buy something, the first thing they do is ask your phone number. When you go to the grocery store, and I'm like, no, you don't need my phone number. And they're like, well, you can't get such and such a discount. Okay, then don't give me the fucking discount. That's how I react to those things. But most people, like 98% of people, just give them their damn phone number. So those people are going to be the ones that are really setting the standard here.
So they've taken that one step further. Now, I went last weekend and took my daughter up to get her second earring holes pierced. And it was at the mall. And we go into the mall. And they pulled that phone number thing on. And I said, nope. They said, well, then you'll have to go somewhere else to get your ears pierced. I said, so you're telling me that if I don't give you a phone number, you don't want the business? And they said, sorry, it's required. We cannot complete a sale without a phone number.
Well, you're talking to a teenager. They don't know any. They're the messenger here.
Right. Well, the problem is that if I don't take her to do it there, I have to take her to a tattoo parlor because there's nowhere else around that does earrings anymore. So I went ahead and I gave them the throwaway number that I have. But by the way, a great way to avoid that. I have a special Google Voice number that I created. If I have to give out a phone number for it, I use that one, and I log into it once a month and empty the spam because that's all that's in there. I don't give it to anybody except people who don't know me. So, good idea if you want to avoid that hassle or you have to enter it on a form somewhere and you don't really care. It'll all be spam. That Google Voice is a great way to avoid that problem.
Be aware that Google Voice, in and of itself, is getting data from you too. I mean, there's what you're going to find out is there's a dizzying degree of people who want your information, and so this is why this KYC is such a big deal in crypto. Because it's such a big deal outside of crypto, of course they're going to move it over to crypto.
Yeah, but see, that's why they don't want it. On the other hand, right? So the conundrum is, if you do it through like a Civic or another security protocol, all it's going to be is a token that says yes, they verified who they say they are. There is most likely not going to be any personal information attached to it, right? So they don't want that. They want to where all that information gets dumped. If you go back, I did a video on and put it on CFA, and I put it on Unleash Reality, and it talks about the SYL token. And that is taking it a little bit different, where you can actually log into your account that you get there and determine what information you want to include to send with that security token, and it's a one-time use token. So if it's like a bank loan and you want to include your income information or your social or whatever, it's like you create your own one-time use token that will verify you that way. That's the difference between some of these other companies and SYL, which is why I was so high on them. They're taking it to a different level. Whereas if you're just opening an account like on a crypto exchange, you can, at that point, they require name, address, social, and a water bill or whatever, right? So you can just include those things and send it off and nothing else.
Okay, so what could possibly convince... Why would a bank rather have a token that they can only look at once rather than keep the data forever? Because the whole reason they grab the data is so that they can use it later to sell you products or share the database or sell to other people. What could convince them to want to use that token rather than just get your actual data?
Well, that's the conundrum. That's the problem. So people, you and me, are pushing for that type of system to be set up, and the people who want the data are pushing back against it. So there's got to be a middle ground, and that's what they're trying to find, and it's difficult to find middle ground in that. So I think that's what's holding up the whole identification, verification, and KYC problem in the crypto spaces. That's a huge problem, and they meaning the companies who want that data don't want to accept something like just a one-time use token. And I can't wait to see how this plays out. I really can't, because it's going to come to a head. The people want their privacy back. They want to keep their data to themselves. They want to own their data. And if you want my data, you have to pay for my data. That's a big, you know how like the Bitcoin maxis will come out with these blanket statements like, you know, everything else is a shitcoin, everything else is worthless, only Bitcoin. Well, that's kind of where the people and the data collectors are digging in heels on either side of that. I don't know. Something's got to give somewhere. There's going to have to be some regulation and some laws around it.
Well, what you're going to have is some billionaire who decides that it's in their best benefit to push this idea, and then that's how it's going to work. It would be nice if this were a grassroots thing of saying, well, I have a bunch of XYL tokens, whatever they are, SYL tokens.
SYL, yeah.
I have a bunch of these tokens. You can use them once, and I'll let you have it. But then they're just going to say, well, I can just get it another way because federal law says it's okay for me to grab this information from you. So it's right now the system,
they can ask for it.
Well, they can get it too. In order to give you the money, that's what they'll demand. They'll say, well, I'm entitled to this information.
Could be. And that's where the person has to make the decision.
Personally, I think from a liability point of view, it's in their best interest to take this encrypted token that you're suggesting. From a liability point of view, if you can convince them, banks and other entities, that it's in there, that they'll be less likely to get sued, then sure. Maybe there needs to be a service out there to sue companies for doing all sorts of sketchy stuff like that.
Could be that those pop up. They'll issue a token, I'm sure.
Okay, do we have another subject to talk about today?
So taking this a little bit sideways. One of the other things that I'm noticing is the Faz way of doing things. And the Faz way of doing things is presenting evidence.
Oh, you are going to get into that. Okay, good.
Yeah, so I'll throw you a bone here and let you make a fool of me on the air. So, not just because I'm old, but memory is not always the greatest. And then you have interpretations, and then you have a lot of ambiguity when you make statements or you say things. And one of the tenets at CFA is right on the tavern when you first come in, and it says evidence is likely required. And it's harder than people think to come up with evidence a lot of times. Our discussion, we talked for probably 3 hours last night, Faz and I, and presenting evidence is much harder than you think. And data is important. Words are important. Context is important. What is it, Faz, that got you so tightly wound around this evidence thing?
I'm not sure if I can say that in public. Well, actually, a lot of it was just being made a fool of when I was younger. Now, let me qualify your statements here. Titan is talking about whenever he says something about crypto or some political thing that we talk about offline, I start demanding evidence. And then a lot of times with crypto or some political thing offline, he'll send me a link as if that's enough. And, you know, there's this great picture of Abraham Lincoln that says, don't trust what people say on the internet, from Abraham Lincoln. I mean, the internet is great in that it has provided us all sorts of abilities to research stuff and find things out. But it's a double-edged sword. Now we have all this data and we don't know how to interpret it. Worse yet, it seems to make experts out of a bunch of people, out of everybody seems to be an expert now on things that they have no idea about, just because they can Google something. If we start Googling about, I don't know, pick a political issue, you can find stuff on either side. And so I'm like, okay, if you're going to say something about a coin or a crypto on CryptoFaz Academy, back it up. Don't just say, I like it because it does this one thing or whatever. I mean, it's kind of funny. You just got done with a spiel earlier today about those film nodes, about how you're not going to buy one unless you get enough evidence. Yet there's other things we talk about offline where you'll send me a link and you'll be like, this is enough. Or take this link and look at that. So,
well, that's where the context matters, right? So if I send you a link on some hot button mainstream media thing, and I try and stick it to your, what I believe are your dumbass views on something, we break it down, and I'm probably like 1 for 9. I think the only time I got you was that hospital thing that we argued about for days. But you have to look past all the bullshit and sensationalism and headlines and clickbait, and you have to really dig into things. And just like in the real world, everybody out there, their goal is to take your money from you and put it in their pocket. And in the crypto sphere, they're looking to take your tokens or your coins and get you to spend them on something.
If somebody even issues a token for some reason, there's an economic thing that they want out of it. If anybody's giving you a token for any reason, there's something that they want out of it. Gala Games has their town tokens and their Gala tokens and stuff, and they're like, well, we just want you to own your stuff. Okay, but actually, if you really look into their business model, what they want you to do is buy their stuff with those tokens. That's the whole model. It's like, we're going to give you tokens, and then we're going to sell you things for those very same tokens, and then they have this nice economic loop that they can take advantage of. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. What makes things terrible, I guess, for Gala is when people start seeing the value of these tokens go up, and then people start speculating on the tokens, and then the token is known for speculation, and then people go into the Gala Discord expecting Gala to address or the speculation or to cater to the speculation, and they don't. Or worse yet, they kind of give it lip service, and you kind of don't know where they are because maybe they want to be a little bit vague. I don't know. I've seen it both ways. But if you're into any crypto for any reason, you need to do research. Unless you're a degen. If you're a degen, hell, just if you know it's going to go up, if you have good reasons to think it goes up, great. Do your research there. Figure out when it's going to go up, buy and sell. That's my 2 cents. This is not financial advice, though. The only advice I'm giving is to actually research the shit you say. It really pisses me off in the crypto world where people predict prices all the time. They're like, oh, it's going to go to this price, or it's going to go to that price. Really? Why would you say that? Well, I just know it will. Okay, so you're full of it. And then other people come along, they'll be like, no, I did some TA on this, and the TA says this. Well, you argue with these people long enough, and they're going to say, well, the TA said that. I didn't say that. I'm just saying it, just because. But then again, when those people are right, they're going to say, well, my track record's pretty good. You mean TA's track record? No, my track record, because you can't trust TA all the time. It can go up, it can go down. So, okay, what's TA? It's just a measurement. And you get to decide whether it goes up or down. I would bet that the best TA predictors are no better than the best weatherman predictions, the meteorologist predictions, and I know the best meteorologists have a success rate of 25%. I believe they get awards for being 25% correct about weather. So I would think that TA and predicting market prices probably never get above that.
So I will qualify that a little bit. So my experience in the financial markets, TA works on the stock side way better than it works on the crypto side. And here's why. The markets have a 70-year history where you can look at what businesses, what institutions, and what this big money has traditionally done. And it developed a critical set of patterns that is fairly predictable. Not always, but fairly predictable. And when you see A, B, and C happen, usually this happens. If you see A, B, and not C, usually this happens. Now, here's the problem. Crypto has two different variables that traditional TA doesn't have. The first is the use of bots, way more. Now, you do have a form of bots on the stock side, but not quite the same as crypto bots.
Are those stock bots regulated?
Some are, some are not. But again, the bot is programmed based on previous patterns over 70 years. Whereas crypto bots, you have a maximum of 12 years, and that's only if you're speculating on Bitcoin.
I still wouldn't say that crypto is any different than the stock market as far as buying, selling, and whatever patterns. It's just there's different ways of buying and selling, and maybe there's more shenanigans that happen in the crypto world. So it's
well, that's the second is we don't know what we don't know in crypto. Because securities are regulated, there's only certain things that you can do. And there's disclosures, and there is, like for instance, right? So if using an old example, if Bill Gates wanted to sell 1 million shares of Microsoft, he has to disclose that a certain time frame ahead of when he's going to sell it. And that gives the markets time to react and adjust and make decisions. If ABC Token, the CEO of ABC Token, who has a huge bag from when he came in, decides to sell 20 million tokens on Uniswap, he doesn't have to notify anybody. Or any big whale in that system doesn't have to notify anybody. They just go to Uniswap, they dump it. So TA can't predict that stuff, whereas in the stock market, those bots are able to recognize that there was a filing done and someone is going to be selling 1 million shares. On this side, the unpredictability is just not there. So for crypto right now, TA is very sketchy. I mean, I would hazard a guess that it's 10% or less correct because of those two variables that you have. Now, over time, will that get better? Sure. But let's say you take a Gala token. The Gala token's been around for what, 2-3 years? There's absolutely no pattern there. You had this huge spike up to 70, 80 cents out of nowhere. I mean, do you think a bot is going to be smart enough to predict out when the next time that'll happen is? There's no way. There's absolutely no way. So
that is called the personal incredulity fallacy. And I'm going to use this as an excellent time to bring up my passion with fallacies. There's a nice website you can look at called Your Logical Fallacy Is to find out all the ways that people bullshit themselves into believing certain things. And yes, it is totally possible to program a bot to keep track of exchange listings. Right now, what they're doing with crypto is they're saying, okay, if we see a lot of coins going to exchanges, they're obviously wanting to trade them. So if Coinbase starts getting a huge influx of Bitcoin, you can assume that there might be a big sale soon. There's other indicators too. That's just one of many. So you can program a bot to recognize those specific indicators. You could do it with DeFi transactions. How much money is being lent out? Are they calling in their loans? Or whatever. They know when options are going to expire. There's enough there to get some information. You can't predict. See, the thing is, if you know that Bill Gates is going to file to sell, I don't know, a whole bunch of Microsoft stock, he has to make that filing, which means the day before he made that filing, you don't know. But if he makes that filing saying he's going to sell it, now you know he's going to sell it. That's the same kind of information that you get as if he just went and sold a bunch of Bitcoin. Is he selling it? Well, yeah, he's in the process of selling it. Okay, either way, he's selling it. So when you talk about what you're really talking about is things that make the market stable. He has to file it in advance so that everything's stabilized and people don't panic sell. That's really what it is. Yeah, the bots can certainly accommodate for that, and people can accommodate. So I will agree that crypto is a bit different and has slightly different patterns, but I'd say at a fundamental level, it's very similar. Just like at a fundamental level, it's been observed that the stock market is very similar to the weather or any other chaotic system. Look up, another bit of homework for people here is look up chaos theory. There are patterns everywhere. Even in what you think is complete chaos, there's patterns there.
So LA Toolman, absolutely. In Detroit, we trust. He is coming on Faz Radio, I believe, next Friday, the 5th. And he's going to walk us through the Wax platform. But I have not seen good results with any TA yet to make me want to buy into
XRP Detroit
TA.
has been pretty, I will have to say, I disagree with certain things, but he's been pretty good with his. Maybe he just knows the right way to say it.
I'm not sure he relies on TA. That'll be one of our questions to him. Is how do you rely? How much do you rely on TA, or is it just something that you research the shit out of and feel really good about it one way or another? That's a great question. We'll bring that up to him.
Well, I would say in his name alone, XRP Detroit means he has researched the hell out of XRP. Anybody who puts XRP in their handle does that. I'm a bit of an XRP person myself. I'm not an XRP whale, but I have a bit of XRP. I assume that XRP Detroit probably has a lot of XRP. And the XRP army does a lot of research.
Yeah, they're building XRPL out, and they're making advances. Wheatswind just made
that's Vitsa Vind. Just to correct you there.
Yeah, I keep forgetting. Yeah, it just posted a tweet last week that I didn't read it. I skipped over it, but I saw it was like really popular. Apparently, they made a huge stride somewhere with XRPL, doing something that had never been done before. They've been trying to get done, I guess. I don't follow it close enough to know.
Maybe you might be referring to you can now do NFTs on the XRPL, and
might be it.
And they've been improving other things too. They might be streamlining some transactions.
They also have. I saw this today, and I have not researched this, so do not go out and start making trades. But there is a platform that is attached to XRP that is doing what Thorchain has done. And it was announced that they finally got the ability to bridge XRP directly to native Bitcoin. So you can go both ways, apparently, between Bitcoin and XRP, totally decentralized with this bridge they created. Now, please do not search for the tweet, go there and throw 5 Bitcoin in here to get XRP, because I don't know if this is safe. I don't know if this is legit.
We're also not financial advisors, and if you listen to us, you're stupid.
Yeah, so there's a lot of news coming out on that. Do you want to talk about the exciting new changes to Faz Radio?
We could say some of them. I believe Titan was before we started talking today, Titan was saying something about merch. Maybe you can fill in there. I like the direction of that.
Sure. So, I bumped into some ideas, and Faz and I, as we always talk about, we have hours and hours and hours, sometimes into double digits per week, outside of Faz Radio, talking about just about everything, both personal, business, Faz Radio, taxes, CFA, you name it. We're talking about it, and some of the changes that we want to be able to implement will be significant. Others not so significant. But one of the on the lower end changes that we had talked about is putting together some merchandise, some T-shirts, some coffee mugs, and other small things that we can have up for purchase, and that would not be enriching us as much as being able to allow us to broadcast perhaps a different way or upgrade some equipment, some things like that is really what we're gearing that towards. We want to be able to provide a richer user experience.
LA Toolman says lunchbox. Did you tell him that we were doing lunchboxes? That would be.
Did I say? I don't remember. We could look into lunch boxes. I used to love those things, man. Those are awesome. Those little metal ones that had the thermos in it.
Somebody last week asked me if I was going to make one of my NFTs into a plushie. Would people want Faz Radio plushies?
That's huge. that really is huge. That and in the crypto space, socks are everything.
Socks,
right? So all these projects put out socks. I don't know what the big deal is about socks.
So the idea is basically. I wanted to have some merch because I like merch stuff. In fact, when Titan kind of joined on to CryptoFaz Academy, started helping out a lot, I bought him a CryptoFaz logo made out of wood from Etsy. But I'm like, hey, I want some more of that stuff. And I mean, I think it'd be cool to have like a T-shirt or a coffee mug. At the same time, we are looking to kind of expand things with Faz Radio and make it bigger and better, and we have some ideas. And merch would be a nice way to get into that, and for people to actually show that they'd be somewhat interested in it too. So, if you like the idea of merch, tell us what you think, either in chat or in CryptoFaz Academy or whatever. I see one person says, lol, heck yeah. So we're going to make a lunchbox for him? I don't even know if they make those. Are you still there, Titan?
I'm babbling away with my mute on. Isn't that nice? So that's awesome, LA Toolman. I will look into the lunchbox thing. I don't know if this site I found does lunchboxes, but let me see what I can do. I would like to see it be some standardized things. We haven't really talked too many details yet. And, you know, Faz is the boss here, so I'm just the idea guy. But I do want to do it a little bit unique. T-shirts are great, hats are great, but I want to do unique things that will really set Faz Radio apart from some of the others that are out there.
If there's a plushie, then Faz Radio needs a mascot for there to be a plushie of. I'm not sure.
Yes, and we do. It's a parrot, if you remember back to episode 1.
That parrot was of CryptoFaz Academy. I don't know if Faz Radio ever got anything. To come up with something. I don't know. People throw something out and I'm interested, sure.
I think everybody that listens to Faz Radio is really going to like the changes. We've started Game Night. If you're not familiar with Game Night, we did one last week.
We should do that tonight if you're willing to stay up late, because I know it's late for you.
Well, yeah, we can see on that one, but we want to do it like twice a week, right? And it'll be some of the
there are 80 views of that one. There's a lot of people that actually like to watch that. Or so 86 views. Look at that. So that's better than one of our crappy Faz Radio casts. So, people really like to watch people play games. My son does it all the time. He watches people play his favorite games.
Please join us for that too. We would love to play with you. We had 2 CFA members playing with us on Tuesday last week. If you go into like Spider Tanks and add Faz, he sets up the maps and invites the people over.
Yeah, that's how I can get more friends. Add Faz on Spider Tanks as your friend. That way I can invite you to these games.
Yes, and come play with us. We also anticipate doing non-Gala games as well. So it might be another platform on the blockchain, crypto gaming, or who knows? We could try COD, and you guys can laugh at me about that.
That means you're going to be having to buy all these games because I have a bunch of games in my Steam library.
Are you kidding? I've got 2 teenagers here, so I've got video game platforms with shit tons of games and extra hard drives and everything else. I could just pull one of their Xboxes up and figure it out. I don't play those very often. I'm not good at shooters. I'm horrible at shooters. And they just laugh at me every time I play with them.
All right. Anyway, so that was the last bit, guys, just to let you know that some changes are coming to Faz Radio, good ones, we hope. And we hope we stick with them, too. I think we will, though.
Well, there's a lot, yeah. And don't forget, coming up on Thursday, Faz will be talking with the Echoes of Empire dev team. And that's going to be a more of a back end, how the sausage is made kind of chat from what I understand. I'll be taking a very big back seat on that one. I know nothing on that.
Well, actually, I was going to start talking. I wanted to talk to them about their lore a bit more. I wanted to get the angles and a dev angle, the angles that they aren't giving out right now. And they actually seem to be excited about it too. They announced it on their Twitter and stuff like that. So they're happy to meet with us. Took a while though. These guys are some busy people. Took them like a month to get back to me, but they kept up with me. I didn't have to keep up with them. So
that's awesome.
That's coming up, and I might have something going with a dev angle from Gala Games, but I'm just going to say might because that's still in process. But it's looking pretty good. So I want to probably have a different Faz Radio logo for that, like Faz Radio Technical or something. Just like I have a different logo for the playing games online with Faz Radio. What do we call that? We call that Game Night. So
Game Night, yep.
So Game Night and Faz Radio Technical. So I'm hoping to get more of that stuff going. Anyway, I need to get going because it's dinner time for me, and I'm going to try and, while we're off here, I was going to try and talk Titan into maybe playing some games tonight.
Well, it depends on how long it takes you to eat and what's going on outside my studio door here. I haven't talked to the family in like 2 hours. I don't know what's going on there, so we'll see how that works.
And we need to tag up this broadcast so people can click past that horrible intro we did where I clicked off, where I couldn't shut something off and we had to restart a second time. So anyway, we'll do that. So thank you guys very much for watching, listening, whatever, and we will see you again next time.
See you later.